Competition breeds innovation and creativity, and we are seeing that right now with Marvel Rivals and Overwatch, two juggernauts battling it out for the top seat of the hero shooter genre. When you go unchecked for years, there's no reason to really innovate. There's no reason to push yourself because you know you're at the top, and when you're at the top, it's hard for anybody to climb and take that spot from you. You beat all your competitors before, so it takes years of mistakes for you to eventually lose the public's trust, and that's exactly what happened with Overwatch, and that's what's happening right now with Call of Duty. Call of Duty still has time to course correct, and I feel like after this year, with the threat that Battlefield 6 was, that they're finally going to feel the pressure. Although with that, we can't really tell how poorly Black Ops 7 performed because it's on Game Pass now, and Game Pass completely skews with the statistics. So if you see that Battlefield 6 has outsold Black Ops 7, that's not taking into account all the people that would have bought Black Ops 7 that's on Game Pass. That's not copium, it's just how things are and how things work. Call of Duty's in the state right now that it was in about 10 years ago, around 2017, where we're just waiting for the next step in innovation. Call of Duty's seen as like this fading franchise, and then MW 2019 comes out and completely changes everything. I feel like we're in course for the same thing to happen, or something very similar, where maybe not the next Call of Duty, but two Call of Duties from now, we're going to see something really innovative from them that's going to put them back in the spotlight, similar to MW 2019, similar to Warzone. With Overwatch, you can't contribute every success that it's had in the past 2 years to Marvel Rivals, as a lot of these things were planned or being developed before Marvel Rivals even came out. And I know people like to use the excuse of, oh, Marvel's this juggernaut, of course they were going to be scared of it coming out, and it's like, that's not really a valid reason, because Marvel is not strong in the gaming space. Really, the only success that they had is Marvel Spider-Man on the PlayStation. The Avengers game was a complete flop. Ultimate Alliance is stuck on the Switch, and Midnight Suns is Midnight Suns. Those games, besides Avengers, aren't really competing with anybody, and they're just in their own space, and it's not like they ever really did that well to catch anybody's attention, like, oh, this is a threat. I honestly don't think Rivals could have came out at a better time. It was the perfect storm of people craving the hero shooter itch, people being tired of Overwatch, and people just craving to be able to play as superheroes and fight each other. I mean, ultimately, that's all we want to do. That's why we see a lot of success with Injustice, is because people want to play as their favorite characters and people want to fight each other. So when you take that aspect and apply it into a shooter where it's really competitive, you have gold. And then when your biggest competitor in that space is at its lowest point, well, it wasn't at its lowest point, it was coming out of its lowest point, that's where you strike, and that's what they did, and they had huge success. Overwatch nearly killed itself in 2023 and 2024. The updates were horrible, the metas were completely unfun, and the characters were just busted on release. You look at Mauga, you look at Alari, and then you have other characters that weren't even playable, like Lifeweaver, who I think took like a year and like 6 straight patches to even become viable. Finally, in the end of 2024, I believe November is when we finally get 6v6 back, just a month before Rivals drop. And then, of course, Marvel Rivals drops and shakes up the entire space. But Overwatch did respond almost immediately. They responded with perks and then responded with Stadium. And these aren't just things you could just pop out of thin air. These take years to develop, especially something like Stadium, where Marvel Rivals didn't inspire Stadium. It didn't inspire perks. However, it probably did expedite the process of which these were released. I wouldn't be surprised if Stadium was just supposed to be a year, and then the next year is when they introduced perks, but then they did in the same year because they have to remain competitive now with Rivals. This year is truly when we saw the impact of Marvel Rivals and what competition really does to its competitors that want to stay relevant. We saw the most heroes released at the same time ever in Overwatch's life, besides the launch of the original Overwatch. I mean, when Overwatch 2 launched, we only got 3 new heroes, 1 for each role, but then again, we also got a bunch of reworks, we got characters switching roles, so it was still a substantial update. It just was not as many heroes added as are being this year. We now had back-to-back years of major content drops, and it doesn't look like things are going to slow down anytime soon. With the way they're setting up seasons, it looks like they're going to be doing this every year. Maybe not as 10 heroes every year, but a hero a season, the turnaround time of hero being 30% faster than it was a few years ago. And if Rivals does not respond and just keeps doing what they're doing, they are going to regret it. You can't just stay at the space when your competitor is continuing to innovate. You're not invincible. Overwatch was in Marvel Rivals' spot. Back in 2016, it won Game of the Year when it came out. It was the game to play. And just mistake after mistake after mistake, they were slowly losing that spot. They had no real competition because any competition that would come up would get shot down immediately. This would lead to really long periods without a hero. Back in like 2019, I think to 2021, the launch of Overwatch 2, we only got, Sigma and then Echo and then just radio silence for 2 years, promising a PvE mode that never came out, just for Overwatch 2 to launch with a 5v5 that was very controversial, only 3 heroes added, which heroes like Junker Queen were made for Overwatch 1 and just moved to Overwatch 2, and then a PvE mode that just never came out. And we have the whole Jesse McCree incident, which really took Overwatch off the public radar. They lost their Lego partnership. I think they lost a lot more partnerships than that, and it made them a brand risk almost. And right now, we're getting more content for Overwatch than we've ever gotten before because there's competition, and competition is really good. I'm excited to see what Rivals does on their end because, as I said, they cannot just stand there and take it and just keep doing what they're doing. They need to innovate on some front. They need to release something unique and special. Having competition like this, being Marvel Rivals, you bring a lot of Marvel fans into the hero shooter space, and when those fans get tired of Marvel Rivals, they might look around for other hero shooters and they're going to see Overwatch, like, all right, let's see what this is about, and that's a whole new market for Overwatch to explore. We really haven't had competition like this in a very long time where games are just battling it out. I think the last time we really saw this was back in like 2018, 2019 with Fortnite and all the other battle royales that came out and competed with it. It went head to head with Apex, it went head to head with PUBG, it went head to head with Warzone, and there's so many other battle royales out there that we're just competing constantly. Look at the state Fortnite's in now. Fortnite has ascended battle royales to the point where it's more like Roblox. It's like in a state that I like to call a forever game that Roblox is in, that Minecraft is in, where it'll always be around and will always be relevant. And I feel like that's what Overwatch is trying to do right now. And I think the final thing that Overwatch is going to do to really help seal the deal of becoming a threat is launching a TV show or a movie. I can almost promise you that at BlizzCon there's going to be a huge announcement for Overwatch, and I think that announcement is going to be the announcement of an Overwatch TV show. I might be wrong, but I truly feel like that is the last piece Overwatch needs to finally be seen in a positive light for the rest of the audience that hasn't already jumped back into Overwatch and still has this negative feeling about it. I'm excited to see where these games go in terms of content and how they will continue to innovate. But let me know what you guys think down below. Are you excited for Overwatch? Are you excited for Marvel Rivals? Do you even care about hero shooters in general? Let me know, and I will see you guys in the next one.